Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bad Movie Night. My name's Chris and tonight I'm talking about a new movie called Toys of Terror. It is directed by one Nicholas Verso and written by Dana Gould, who is a pretty well-known writer and actor. You would know him from Stan Against Evil, but he's also written some Simpsons episodes. I know him from an episode of Creepshow from last year. So Toys of Terror is about a family on Christmas break goes and buys this house that they're going to be fixing up, and they decide to spend Christmas there. But the house holds quite a bit of a mystery as there's these demonic toys there and then some hijinks ensue. It's a pretty unoriginal setup and there's not really too much new brought to this movie, but I will say, when I saw the cover of this movie, my expectations were for something like this. And I was shocked by what I saw here in this movie. So there is some actual, professionalism involved here in Toys of Terror. This cover though, this poster artwork and name make you think it's going to be absolutely abysmal. And you will see, I'm sure, a bunch of hyperbolic reviews about this movie being the worst thing they've ever seen, and it's definitely not that. But let's get into some of this. The production value is really actually pretty good here. I think the camera work is great, the set is pretty awesome, the lighting is all good, the sound design is good, the music is good, the acting is okay. The writing for the dialogue, not very good. There's lots of expositional moments where characters say things to move the story along. It doesn't feel natural. That's hard. Most people knock that against acting. I knock that more against writing. The stuff needs to sound natural. Sometimes it's too much information. It just makes, and when an actor has to deliver it, it's hard for them to do that and make it sound like a real person is talking. So there's moments like that throughout this thing, but like I said, I was really shocked. This seems like this should be an awful, terrible Z-grade movie. I mean, based on that title alone and the setup being such your standard horror trope idea. So I was really surprised by the production value in this thing. Now, that being said, there's some major issues here as well. This is so close to being like a gateway horror movie for kids, and I really wish they would have leaned into that more. The body count is really small for this thing, but it jumps between what feels like kid-friendly horror movie into weird adult side with gore and, language and some violence that is just a little bit too much for a younger audience. And I think I made a bad choice by adding that stuff to this movie because it is so unbelievably generic. It is Puppet Master with a million different little horror tropes you've seen before, haunted, old, asylum type thing, creepy mansion, people coming in not knowing what to expect. All the little predictable moments are here. So that stuff works fine, especially in a gateway movie where your audience isn't old and cynical like me, that they've seen so many things. And so these little moments probably would have been effective and scary for, kids because they're not used to the tropes and they have no idea what to expect. So going into this movie, like I said, surprised by how well done the production values are and the acting's fine. Everything's going along fine, and then we get to 30 minutes into the movie where we introduce the first puppet attack type sequence, and it's not good. It looks like bad CGI, but then it also looks like stop animated puppets, which is way more charming to me. So that first sequence where they introduce the moving puppets, it looks really bad. But once you get past that, there's later sequences with the puppets moving and dancing where there's a lot of charm. It's very herky-jerky. It's not like your classic Ray Harryhausen where there's a billion frames of animation. It doesn't feel like there's that many frames, so it's kind of herky-jerky looking, but it is still really charming. But the problem is like they're green screening that animation into the scenes, and that effect doesn't always work where it just cheapens it quite a bit. But I do appreciate the effort of going to making stop animated stuff. It's not something you see every day. Like the Puppet Master movies did it, and they did it really well, but they were also shot on film, and this is shot digitally, and digital stuff, it doesn't hide that, it doesn't mask all the little problems. It usually highlights them because the image is so clean. So the movie does certainly have some charm because they went ahead and did that, and that's the stuff I really liked. And there's some funny, creepy moments with them performing songs and stuff for the kids, and that stuff was all cool. And that's what I'm talking about. If this was more gateway horror, where they didn't then lean into like, one kill in this is kind of brutal and out of nowhere, and it's like, if that wasn't in this movie, I could be showing this to my kids and we could have this cool, we could celebrate this like Christmas little horror movie that everybody could enjoy. Because it is a Christmas themed movie, and I did get some Christmas feeling from it. I think it's a good choice with the music, and there's some snow, and it does feel Christmassy in the way they lit a lot of the scenes and stuff like that. There's some bad effects with the snow later on. It kind of takes you out of the movie a little bit, but it's nothing like that's gonna ruin the experience. So that's the thing, like, because they chose to not go for completely gateway, you know, kid-friendly horror, it doesn't have enough of a body count to really justify like an experienced horror viewer. None of the scenes are scary in any way for somebody who has seen a bunch of horror movies. None of the violence is enough to satisfy a horror person. So it's just like a half measure in both ways, and it's kind of a failure because of that. It's definitely not a terrible movie, and like I said, I think you're gonna see a lot of hyperbolic reviews of people being like, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen. Because they chose this safe route and didn't really provide anything new, the experienced horror viewers aren't gonna be satisfied, and because it's a little bit too much gore and stuff to introduce this to a younger generation of inexperienced horror viewers, you're kind of missing the mark here. So if you're looking for something passable maybe to watch and get you a little bit of a Christmas spirit you haven't seen before, and if you really like the Puppet Master movies with their stop animation, it sort of hits that a little bit, then it might be worth checking out. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. I was expecting something way worse, and I was really surprised by the production value in this movie. So check it out, it's out now, it's called Toys of Terror. If you've seen it, let me know what you think down below, and then let me know what I should be watching. I'll catch you here next time, guys. Goodbye.